Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whoever you are. Hello, how you doing? Sorry for the bad audio. I'm tired and I'm using my iPhone to do the recording because I don't feel like being in front of the camera. I don't feel like setting up my microphone, my Elgato microphone, which it's okay, but it still picks up everything. This as well doesn't help that much, but either way, um, besides the horrible audio, um, I wanted to reach out to anybody that is struggling with food, self-esteem, health problems, mental problems. This is just going to be focused on how I lost weight. I was at over 320, but I got down to 220, and I'm 5'10". I'm 32 years old, and it wasn't easy. Where I was in February of 2024 is completely different where I am now in March of 2025. In February, I was depressed, borderline suicidal, and I had anxiety that you can never wish upon anybody. People have dealt with it, but it was so bad, buddy. I think I need an entire different video for just anxiety alone. So my insides were all fucked up, and it wasn't because of just bad food. It was bad care from medical people. Okay. And so I say these things to let you know if you have anything wrong with your body, don't stop fighting. Period. I had liver problems, kidney problems, digestive, everything problems. I had stomach ulcers. I had heart problems. I had blood sugar problems, blood pressure problems. I had mental problems, brain chemistry problems. I was withdrawing from medications. I was having breathing problems. And to top it all off, I was born with cerebral palsy on my right leg, and I injured a tendon that I've never injured before on the same leg. And I'm 320 pounds. Wearing a medical boot in February. Now, before I really started losing weight, I just started moving first with the medical boot. I even jogged with the medical boot. This was all in February of 2024, but I made a few mistakes too along the way. I was trying to maintain a healthy blood pressure, and I went online and I read things that made it worse, but I thought it would make it better because it said it would make it better. So I was going to the gym a lot just to sweat in the sauna and steam room for almost a year at that point, almost 4 times to 5 times a week. But I couldn't really do much else. And I was having weird skin problems too, dots all over my body anytime I sweat. A lot of this is because of the cocktail antipsychotics, anti-anxiety, antidepressants, and mood swings, and whatever the fuck else they put me on. I went through hell. I'm in better care now, and turns out wasn't supposed to be on that stuff in the first place, but it was hell. And it wasn't easy, and it was very frustrating. It was soul crushing. Soul crushing. So difficult. And I spent a lot of time by myself too. I really wanted to hang out with people, but either someone was busy or just unable to do anything, or they ghost me. I mean, there's no other way to put it. At times people did that, knowing how bad I was, even suicidal. People ghosted me. You know, they plan things with me and then they never show. Things like that. And so the motivation wasn't there. I was just outside at this point with a medical boot, going up and down these stairs and on a track outside for a while. With my friend Matt, who kind of made me do it. Because he wanted to spend time with each other, but wanted to be outside. And he was dealing with his own shit too. And we were pretty lost. And I remember Persona 3 Reloaded came out around this time. And I was vaping so much that I started having more problems with my kidney and stuff like that. I still can't vape. And then one day, I go to the doctors because I needed to know how I was doing with all this withdrawal shit. Coming off everything was hell. And I go in, I sit down, blood pressure is still pretty bad. And that was the main focus that day. They took my blood and everything, and I was trying to figure out just exactly what was wrong with my body. I couldn't stop going to the bathroom. I couldn't stop peeing. That was the main problem. It was so bad, I only got 2 to 3 hours of sleep. And I would wake up every hour. My friend Matt, who was living with me, felt really bad for me too, because he was like, God, I can hear him. Like, I can hear you at night having to get up 4 or 5 times in 1 hour. Multiple times. So, and later on, that actually motivated him to really push recently. But it just reminded him that, like, everybody has stuff, and if Kenny can do what he did, I can too. Which is, I'm thankful. That's why I'm talking to you right now about this. So, a few days go by, and I get my results to my blood test, and it turns out I'm pre-diabetic, and I have borderline celiac disease, allergy to gluten. My insides were inflamed. That's why that was going off. My liver was fucked. And I don't even drink. I hate alcohol. So, everything was fucked. And I started freaking out. I read it wrong, too. I thought it said I was diabetic, and I thought it said I had celiac disease. So I was freaking out for like 24 hours until Matt came home from work and sat me down. I'm like, can you just read this? He's like, dude, buddy, you're pre-diabetic and you don't have celiac disease. Just, you gotta stop eating all this stuff you eat, man. A lot of the stuff you're eating is why it's like this. And with further research too, one medication that really fucked me up was Seroquel, and it boosted my blood sugar up, way up. Some people experience a 300% increase in blood sugar. But at this point, I was so frustrated what the malpractice I went through did to me that I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna, like, mentally ever be who I used to be. But I was determined not to have any more problems. So from there on, for the next 2 months, I battled sugar withdrawal and gluten withdrawal. I was detoxing like crazy. I refused to eat anything bad. And that 320 went from 314 to 300 to 290 so fucking quick. In March, as I was battling with my eating, and honestly, even though I was craving these foods, I had no fucking like I did not want it. Like, I have never not wanted that food ever. I was sad because my head, and I'm sure a lot of people have done this, I was sad that I couldn't eat whatever I wanted, like I'm so used to. So I remember vividly, one day, I'm playing Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster. Because with all of this shit going on, I ended up getting a remaster for the Pixel Final Fantasy games 1 through 6. And as I was playing the second one, which I like a lot, the character ends up getting on a boat. I think it was more like a canoe. It was either the canoe or the boat. And I'm like, I can't keep walking with the pain in my fucking leg. I know I have a bike, but it's probably not going to work. For years, I kept telling myself that. When I was 14, I fell off the bike too. I flipped. I fucked up my shoulder and never went to the hospital about it. Right? I was scared to be on a bike at that point. Off and on, I would go on one, but it terrified me to ride a bicycle. But I'm in the garage anyway at this point, being like, it's a really nice day. At this point, it's March. And I find this shitty bike. It's all rusted. I found it in the backyard when I was like 18 or 19, buried in mud. And I tried figuring some stuff out, trying to see if I can do something about it. And somehow I was able to fix it. I don't even know what I did. There were some things I had to tighten. The tires had to be inflated. And then there was something else wrong with it. I don't know what it was. But I got it to start moving. And so I headed out that day. And I was sick as a dog. I've been sick as a dog for a while, and I felt like this might kill me, to be honest with you. There were so many times where just walking, my vision would go so dark, I could still see, but it's like I'm about to faint, and I have to sit down. I rode the bike for about 4 miles. I got to my favorite spot. Now, my TikTok, I actually uploaded a video of me there that day. And I got back home, and my bike was broken. Like, I got into the garage, and I just realized it's not going to work again for a while. It was so rusted. But I didn't give up. I hit up my grandmother, and I said, do you still have that bike in that garage, and can I have it? And she's like, absolutely. So I make a playlist of Sonic music, I kid you not, all my favorite Sonic music, and I go to bed that night, and I wake up. My mom has to go over there to watch my grandfather as she goes, and I guess she's gonna go do something with her eyes or something like that, like LASIK surgery or something, my grandmother. So I'm over there, I grab the bike, I have some stuff to pump the tires, and I oiled, I guess, what is it called? W40. Sprayed the chains a little bit, and I rode again 4 miles back home. And I remember too, I was really irritable. My mom was making me frustrated about something. I think it was just the fact that I was gonna ride my bike home, and she was worried about it. Along with other stuff too. I don't know. But I head back home on that bike. Meanwhile, Matt's working that day too. But I'm so proud of myself. I get back home and I sit down, I drink water, and I feel really, really good. And from there on, I went on that bike 2 to 3 times a day. Out in the sun or out at night, rain or not, I was out there because I enjoyed it. Meanwhile, I started putting brown rice in my food. Veggies, brown rice. I started putting tuna, and I started having salad with barely any dressing. And I look at the scale one day, and it was like 380. And in 5 months, just what I just said, in 5 months, I was already down like almost 70 to 80 pounds. 70 or 80 pounds. I remember talking to Swifty on Twitch.tv in the chat because I started getting really fatigued and tired, and truth be told, it was actually the anxiety that was making me feel that way, but I was losing weight way too fast. And I was asking him because he used to be a fitness nut. Just still is to some extent. He's just older now, but man, he was my big inspiration to stay healthy when I was young, when I was 19 and 20. So I was talking to him. He was really proud of me. And chat started talking about health stuff and health stories and stuff and fitness stories. It was really, really fucking cool. And so I think I still have that. I was like phone recording him what he was sharing because I was like I was recording on my phone the screen because I was like, he's probably going to tell me something I need to remember. But you know, some people were like, you know, you need to make sure you have enough calories and stuff like that. I was in a deficit that was like 900 to 1,000, if that. And I made a really big mistake. Even though I cut out sugar completely, I also was avoiding sodium because I was like, sodium's bad. You need sodium. And I was only having up to 300 milligrams of sodium, if that. Guys, I was in a bad place, even though I was losing weight. So I started learning more about like, okay, you need sodium to retain water. Meanwhile, I'm not sleeping much still. To this day, I still wake up with anxiety and stuff. It sends signals to your kidneys and bladder to tell you have to go to the bathroom, and you do pee a lot, but very frustrating. Because at that time, within 5 to 6 months, I was still only getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep. Broken sleep too. I did a lot of reading about other people coming off medications, certain medications. One was like Jonathan Davis from Korn. You know, and how like it just takes a long time. Even Jordan Peterson talked about coming off certain medications too. 3 years later, and he still doesn't feel quite himself, but I mean, he said the medication was making things worse. So and some of the medications I was on was counteracting, I believe, with other medications as well. I even accidentally, I'm pretty sure I was about to fucking die one night because they put me on like 200 milligrams of trazodone and 200 to 300 milligrams of Seroquel with a bunch of other stuff. My heart rate was so slow. I checked it. It was almost below 60 laying down. Which was completely weird because at the time before that, my heart rate was so high when I lay down until I started doing what I was doing with the bike. Like, it used to be like 190. I was in complete panic all the time. Anyway, so with that said, yeah, I still uploaded videos. I still played Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2. I did a lot of videos and stuff, goofing off on the behind the curtains, you know, Zero who was in these videos most of the time, there were times where I was so bad off, and he's like, hey, we pushed through anxiety, because I was like shaking fighting the giant wolf in Dark Souls, for example. Not because it was hard or anything, but my body was like shaking uncontrollably. And there were a lot of times where like I would get in my head, push through anxiety, he said. We're men, we push through anxiety. There's a lot of moments where you might not want to say that, just because, there's probably other things you could say, but the things that you could do in my situation was basically tell me to push through, because there was nothing else to do. So we go from like a terrible place, terrible body, terrible head, terrible everything, and life kept going. And I had to make a decision. Do I just die, get worse, and make the rest of my time terrible, become diabetic, which if you're already diabetic at this point and you don't know how to manage that, it's not hard. Believe in yourself and just take what you can and just manage it. It will get to the point where it's like an everyday thing, you don't even think about it. But there's a lot of things that you can do. You can restrict yourself, you can cut things out, you can go to the gym, you can go nuts, you can just lose yourself completely. And that works for a lot of people, but what I have told people is you have to enjoy what you're doing. And so on these bike rides in particular that I did 2 to 3 times a day, one thing that really was great was being outside. Being outside, wearing headphones, or having my phone tied near to my neck with this like mask stuff that I have, where I can use it as like almost like a scarf, and just listen to music like that and still hear my surroundings and stuff, not even worry about headphones. That's what I did. And I would also use my phone to talk in recordings and vent about whatever is on my mind. I had over 400 and something recordings, people. Within 1 year, I must have made at least 300. The other is from years back to 2021 to 2022. And truth be told, off and on my whole life, after I found Nintendo Capri Sun and how that YouTuber did tape recordings of his thoughts since he was a teenager, how he did that, I was like, I want to do that too. So I think I started that shit in 2017. Off and on, I would do it. I actually do remember in 2011, 2012, I did audio recordings, but I was so young and stupid, and I just got rid of them. I deleted almost 10 gigabytes of recordings today off my phone. I saved a lot of them that I shared with my girlfriend, but there was just so many. And even though I'm never going to go back and listen to them at this point, I did once in a while, but that was what made those bike rides easy. Because when you're going through this shit, you need to vent, but you don't want to vent into someone's ear where they're going to fucking resent you in the end, because you're going to say a lot of stuff probably while you change your whole lifestyle. Because this wasn't a diet, this was a lifestyle change. And after about 2 months, I want to tell anybody that has addiction to food, after 2 months, if you're consistent, you start to realize, oh my God, I've been wanting to eat like this and enjoy it all my fucking life. And I just never fucking gave it a chance. Because what's going on is that there's a dependency on the things you're eating. So even though you're shoving it down your fucking gullet, you don't want it, but your body is dependent on it. You'll wake up one day and realize that you enjoy what you're eating. So, and I was single, alone, and I was having a hard time talking to friends and making plans and stuff like that. I just went on that journey on my own, really. I still did things with a few people. Zero's one of them. Everybody knows who they are. But there are a lot of friends that just weren't there. And if you're going through that, it's all right. There are a lot of weeks where the only person I really talked to was my fucking mom. Okay? So, it's all good. You're not doing it to look better. Not entirely. You're doing it because you deserve it. You do it because when you're older, you're going to be happier. So suffer now when you can fight it. So when you're older, your older version will be happy. Because of you. I wanted to share this. I did find love. Thank fuck I did. And I'm surprised I did. I got really lucky to find Chloe. I got really lucky through Facebook dating, which before her, terrible experience. I dated a lot throughout my life. I finally found somebody that is just fucking perfect for me. 3 things that were a motivation for me. Minus, well, I don't want permanent problems when there's a solution right now, right here. The first one is I visualized finding someone like her, what she would be like. And in these recordings I made for myself, I ended up starting to talk to her in those recordings, even though I didn't know who she was. I didn't know my future partner, but I was talking as if my future partner was listening. There were a lot of times I would be mad or I would be crying, I would be hysterical, because coming off all that shit was tough, man. So that was the first one. Someone out there, I need them, they need me. Turns out Chloe needed me, not just want me. Second thing was, because I was so suicidal, at some point I had to tell myself, I gotta fight for my friends and family. And the third one was give me a second. I still have flashbacks from this shit, man. Was working out again. I used to work out all the time and visualizing myself at this special spot. The first day I got on that bike with that shitty one and I made it there, I thought I would never be able to make it. I was bedridden. I was in the hospital a lot. I was going through a lot of testing and stuff. If it wasn't for my neurologist to point out that I was going through some shit with the people taking care of me, I don't know if I would be talking to you right now. I really don't. So, if you're struggling out there, these are the things to keep in mind. There are a lot of people out there like you. I still have a ways to go. I'm 5'10" and I'm 223 today. pounds. Still have a ways to go, but I was watching Nintendo Capri Sun today, breaking NCS. Great fucking guy. He's like a YouTuber that I've been watching since 2011, 2012. And these videos were made 13 years ago, by the way. The one I'm talking about right now. And he was thinking about how skinny he used to be and how impossible it feels at times to lose weight. That he stopped looking at the scale. He must have gained 40 pounds, he was saying. Just about. Really determined and stuff. He was my age now, I believe, in those videos. I was thinking that way too. I really was. How the fuck am I ever gonna be looking good, feeling good, and getting compliments and stuff? I felt like that part of me is just gone. Like, that's who I am, 320 pounds. I mean, he was 274 in this video. And I was even heavier than that. And I remember watching his videos while I was going through this last year. When he was at 274, I was like, God, and I'm 320? Something like that, you know? I was like, dude, like... And this is coming from someone that was at the gym all the time, even before this, and was still 280 pounds, 290 all the time. I was just struggling. All the fucking time. You have to enjoy what you're doing, and you have to eat. And I always just tell people one thing I wouldn't change at all is, when it came to food, was just cutting out sugar completely. That shit will drop really quick. Just stay hydrated and remind yourself you need electrolytes. There were a lot of other little things in my life I would listen to as well, like Sam Sulek talking, and you know, I found animal amino electrolyte stuff. I would drink that, and there were times I would try protein powder, and then I was like, I don't need it, you know. A lot of things like that. Another thing I did, I completely forgot. I forced myself twice a day to do push-ups. In the morning and right before bed, I would do push-ups until failure. I did push-ups every fucking day for a year. For a year. I don't really know if that really contributed a lot to my weight loss. Except for one fucking major thing. Making myself do something I really don't want to fucking do. Right before bed, when you're already exhausted from everything I was going through, yeah, that'll fucking do it. And after 2 weeks, I would get so fucking about not doing it, even though I didn't want to at the same time. But it taught me a valuable thing, to just fucking do it. I hope this helps somebody out there. I'm not a physical trainer. I'm not a therapist. I'm a human being who found a way to just do what he fucking had to do. But if you're out there and you're struggling, you're in a bad place, or maybe you're just overweight, or maybe you just don't work out at all, though you have a decent body. Whoever you are, you're not alone. I'm here. A lot of people are here. If you ever have anything you want to say, leave it in the comments. I'll read it. If you need some encouragement, you just need to say something. That's what the comments are for here. You guys take care. Much love, and I mean that. Go kick ass. Keep enjoying your video games and life. If you're in a bad place right now, just be that person that you know you need to be. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. See ya.